So on the right hand front here, I've got the new shock absorber on, which is good, and replaced the bump stop rubber because they always disintegrate, so you always need to do that. But what I did sort of suspect is so the cotter pin that goes through there, which then locks the fulcrum pin at the bottom that goes through that way, that's all seized in there, so getting that out can be a bit of an issue. And I can cut it out with a disc cutter. However, then when I sort of thought, see how much play there is in the wishbone, it's got a lot of side to side. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the wishbone off, which I didn't want to do because I just didn't want to do that, but I can't see any other option. Take the wishbone off to see just how bad this is. I think it's had it basically, but I've got a good wishbone pan that'll go again, and we'll swap that into there. So never always quite as straightforward as you expect. If that pin had come out there, I could have taken the fulcrum pin out, but there again, the play, what happens, there gets wear in the ends of the wishbone, in the threads in the wishbone, and that's where the issue is. But let's pull it apart and see what we end up with. So the wishbone and spring, the whole thing has come off now. We've taken the whole lot off, and surprise, surprise, look at the bushes on there. I don't think they've been off since 1959 or whatever. So, I mean, they did need doing, at least we can say that much. I'm going to see if I can get the cotter pin out of here. Now I've got it in the, can punch it out in the vise and then see what state the wishbone pan actually is, see if it will go again with a new fulcrum pin. So let's see what happens next. I had two matching, almost perfect front wishbones that came off a race car, which we just changed at the end of the season, just for no reason apart from the fact that they'd been on there for a year. So I've got them, cleaned them up, bit of black paint on them. It's going to be easier to do to assemble the whole lot on the bench rather than part on the car anyway. And then put some new bushes in there, and then put all the new stub axles on there. Once the stub axles are on there, I can check that the lift is okay, because it's quite often you end up having to re-shim them, and I certainly take them apart anyway and re-grease them, because I'm never satisfied with the way they come greased, or lack of, and I think you're better if you get in there with the grease properly before you assemble them. Put new fulcrum pins in, all the new cork gaskets on them, and it'd be like a new car. New shocks on it. Going to use the old springs again, but I think we can be fairly certain that that wishbone was totally knackered, and the one that's still on the car that I haven't stripped down as yet, that's not going to be any better. So at least we know that both of them are done. When you buy new front hubs, don't automatically assume that you can just bolt them straight on. It doesn't work like that. That's why I always take them apart, because this one here needs another shim on it at least. It's really stiff, and that is not going to be any good whatsoever. So I'll take them apart, grease them all up again. That one I'll put another shim on to start with and see what it's like after I've put an extra shim on it. Might need two, but I think it probably just needs one by the feel of that. But just a little tip there. So the relatively easy bit of installing all the brake hardware is now in place. So we've got the hubs, discs, upright, stub axle, kingpin, calipers, pads. Also on this one, we've got new shock absorbers and all new wishbone bushes in a couple of replacement pans. So that's all done there at the fronts. On the rear, back plates are in place, new shoes, all the hubs have been refitted, springs adjusters, handbrake levers. I've got the copper brake pipes run through onto there. I'm actually waiting on the air-equipped braided brake hoses at the moment. They have not arrived as yet, so we'll be moving on to a different job in a minute, which will involve fitting the pedal box, and that is where it gets really quite serious. So all that white stuff is the assembly grease that comes with the poly bushes. So yeah, the nuts and bolts of each corner are now in place. Now it's a matter of getting over there, getting into that section, which I'm really pleased to see is not all rotten. There's a little bit of surface rust, but that's all. So that's where the pedal box is going to fit. I believe there's enough space next to the voltage regulator box for it to sit nicely. On this one, I've got to drop the engine out as well, which I'll probably do next, which will just give me a little bit more space to work on the pipes. So that's the progress on the A35 van at the moment, which is pretty much where I expected it to be for this stage of the conversion.